Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'm gonna have it's kind of a review, but it's really a large discussion of Godzilla 70th anniversary number one. We're gonna talk about all the stories that we see here, each and every one of them. So let me give you a quick synopsis of what this book is. This is a 96-page giant anniversary issue for Godzilla from IDW. So celebrating 70 years of Godzilla. Since 1954, Godzilla has been the king of monsters. And what better way to celebrate the than with a gigantic anthology of tales that get to the heart of Godzilla's lasting popularity? From the American Old West to modern Tokyo and beyond, this collection features stories of the King of Monsters fighting with his allies like Mothra against old enemies like the terrible Mechagodzilla and reshaping the lives of all who fall into its path. We have 9 Titanic stories by first time and beloved creators. We'll talk about all the creators in a minute. So let's go on to the creative stories here, and then we'll actually dive into each one of them. So we have the Half Century Boar, written and drawn and lettered by James Stocco. Now James Stocco, very returning to Godzilla from his Half Century War story. We also have Contagion, written by Dan DiDio, former head over at DC, and then drawn by Joel Jones, color by Marco Lesko. Joel Jones, of course, another very well-known DC artist, especially for writing and drawing Catwoman. We have Of Gods and Con Artists, written by Danny Lohr, with art by Sebastian Perez. In the Shadow of a God, written and drawn by Matt Frank. We have poetry by Donnie Winter and Japanese calligraphy by Maki Takarada. In the Darkness, written by and drawn by AJ Sue. We have The Big One, written and drawn by Adam Gorham, colors by Adam Gusowski. We also have Ain't No Place for an Angel, written by Casey Gilly, drawn by Leon Kangas, colors by Brittany Peer. In Summation, written by Michael Conrad and art by Gigi Shaw. And then we have the last story, written and drawn by Natasha Alterisi. This is the Aftermath story. We have letters by Rose Wooten on all these stories, unless noted otherwise, and a book design by Nathan Wittick. Uh, think about just how many people, first of all, IDW had to get together to do something like this. It is really a triumph, and one of the reasons that I love the comic book medium, it is because it's such a collaborative platform, right? So let's take a look at some of these stories here.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about these stories. So this is the Half Century Boar. We can see here James Stocco did another story about Godzilla called the Half Century War, where we follow Godzilla over 50 years. And I just love Stocco's like very detailed art. I love his character designs, but also his very expressive faces, right? You can see from just these 2 preview pages. Very, very cool stuff. Let's move on to the next story here. We have Contagion. This is a story about disease and a virus being developed from some of these titans that Godzilla has to fight, where, of course, things get very quickly out of hand. I've never really thought about a plague type of story with Godzilla, so it's an interesting approach. It was quite enjoyable, and of course, Joel Jones's art is just beautiful here. So yeah, I love to see that. Love the fights, love the designs. Next, we have Of Gods and Con Artist. So, what are the people doing while Godzilla is on an attack or while Godzilla is fighting? There are people that take advantage of this, right? And this is what Danny Laurie and Sebastian Perez are getting to the heart of. I love seeing all the action from the characters we're following in the forefront, while in the background, in some of these other panels, we still see things happening in the background. I love how the fight mirrors the kaiju clash that's going on, and then here we see our protagonists as they leave. Some things just they remain small compared to everything that's going on in the fights with these kaiju. Now, in the shadow of a god, probably one of my favorite arts. I was really, I'm glad that I pulled out this page, but this story is, of course, this is the one that has poetry in it. It has calligraphy in it. So like, they really went all out to tell just such a beautiful story of destruction, which sounds like a very, a very interesting oxymoron of like, how can destruction be beautiful? But the team really managed to get there. Next, we have In the Darkness by A.J. Zhu. Uh, I really wanted to pull these panels of like this kid being chased by Godzilla. Now, there's a little bit of a twist, but I love the almost watercolor type of features. I don't know exactly if that's what the medium that they're using is, but I love the approach to this. And there's a very cute resolution, I think, to this comic book. So, or to this story. I also really love the lettering here along the edges and the design of Godzilla. I really like when Godzilla is a little bit chunkier. So that's really cool as well. We have the big one. This is the one that really deals with the consequences and people that suffer because of the kaiju attacks. Now, obviously, this is can be a parallel to people suffering the consequences of the conflict of war or natural disasters and stuff like that. So, definitely a very emotional story. But you still get a lot of really cool kaiju fights here, as you can see in the background, right? I'm not familiar with all the monsters, or all the kaiju. So like you guys can let me know who this slug type creature is. But boy oh boy, I would hate to get that big suction cup right up to the neck. Now it's probably no surprise that I love a story by Leon Kangas, one of my preferred artists on comics, and it's really cool to see them here with Casey Gilly, telling a story about the old West with Mothra in it. We do get a little bit of Godzilla action, but overall this story just really focuses a lot on the people, which is very very cool. Yeah, I really love this story as well. Next we have a story against Mecha Godzilla. This is the Michael Conrad story. uh I don't know what else to tell you. Like if you don't want to see a big battle with Mecha Godzilla, I don't know, like maybe you picked up the wrong book. This was really fun. I love the design as well here, very reminiscent of like the old Toho movies, which I like those callbacks as well. And then of course all the lettering here just really telling you how loud this situation is for everyone involved. And then last but definitely not least, Aftermath, which probably my favorite story in the anthology. It's really hard to put all these in order because they are so different and they are all about this thematically. They're so they all have the Godzilla at the core, but they take a very different approach in all these. So really, really enjoy this book though. This is a $10 book, so obviously it's this might be one of the things that don't make it to the top of your list immediately. But if you're a Godzilla fan, you're really gonna enjoy this. So yeah, very excited to see what people say about this. So if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye.